NFL fans, welcome back to a brand new episode of the J All Day NFL Show. We're going to go over all my Week 3 picks with scores, guys. There is a lot to talk about in today's video. Tons of injuries that are going to impact the way we pick these games in Week 3. We continue to dominate our picks. We have a 78 winning percentage on the season. We went 12-4 in Week 2. 13-3 in Week 1, and we continue to dominate the bookies each and every week, guys. Let's get into today's video. All right, all my NFL fans, before we get into today's video, do me a huge favor, smash that like button. It does really help us get into YouTube's algorithm. Also, if you're on your phone, you see that little hype button, smash the hype button. That does help us out a lot as well. And if you want the best picks on YouTube and probably some of the best football content all over YouTube, you got to subscribe to the channel, guys. If you take a look at your screen right now, if you're into sports betting, man, we are dominating, absolutely dominating the bookies this year. You can see our initial deposit this year was $200. Well, $211.80 because they took $11.80 out for processing fees. That's some BS. But we've turned that into $464.22. I have a $20 bet on the Dodgers tonight to beat the Phillies because the Phillies were out partying last night because they clinched the NL East. So if you like that bet, there's a freebie for you guys. And if you're into sports betting, check out my memberships. You get all of my bets that I place for the NFL each and every Friday, $4.99 a month. All right, let's get into Week 3 picks with scores. NFL fans, I can't believe we're already in Week 3 of the NFL season. And boy, oh boy, last week was quite the roller coaster ride. We're going to kick things off with the Thursday night game. Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo is minus 12 favorites, guys. I'm going with the underdog here. I'm taking the Miami Dolphins. No, I'm not. I'm totally kidding. Bills dominate this game. I'm going 35-20. Bills cover the spread. The Dolphins are a mess right now, man. Their offensive line can't block for shit. Tua cannot throw the ball accurately at all whatsoever because he's got the happy feet because the offensive line sucks. They might have the worst secondary I've seen collectively in the NFL in the last decade, right? They just pretty much do everything to lose. 10 penalties. Waddle and Hill look better in this past week, but they can't run the football at all whatsoever. Only 61 total rushing yards this past week. Josh Allen, he wasn't great this week. He broke his nose, cracked that bitch back in place, and he played the rest of the game. The dude's an absolute stud, man. The dude's a stud. 14-25, 148. But the best part about the Buffalo Bills, if the passing game is a little lackluster, they could pick it up running the football. James Cook dominated, guys. 21 carries, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns, man. Woo, baby. But for me, I don't see any way the Miami Dolphins win this game. They're on the road, going up to Buffalo. It's not like freezing cold Buffalo yet, but the Dolphins aren't particularly good on the road at all. I don't think the sentiment in Miami is good either. So I'm taking the Buffalo Bills. 12 points is a big nut, but I think they cover the spread. I'm going 35-20. Buffalo Bills get it done in Week 3. Next up, we got a really interesting game. We got the Raiders on the road going to Washington to take on the Commanders. Washington right now is 3.5-point favorites, right? But Jayden Daniels, there's speculation that he's not going to play in this game, right? A lot of reports are saying that it's doubtful that he's going to play in this spot. So that means Marcus Mariota is up for the Commanders, right? So if we get no Jayden Daniels, so I'm making this pick thinking that Jayden Daniels will sit in Week 3. I'm going to go with the Raiders 26-23 here. Geno Smith really struggled last week. 3 interceptions against the Chargers. That Chargers defense is sneaky, really, really, really talented, man. That knee sprain for Jayden Daniels is a huge concern. We saw against the Packers that defense is very, very beatable, right? And I think Geno Smith corrects that. I don't even know how you would describe it. The first throw of the game, ball gets tipped up, interception, and he was just never able to get it together, man. He kind of was trying to force things because they were down. It was just a bad situation, right? And for me, if Jayden Daniels does play, they got to run the ball more effectively, right? Jaden Daniels can't be successful throwing the ball over 40 times a game. You just can't do it. Listen, I'm going with the Raiders right now because I'm expecting Jaden Daniels not to play. So give me the Raiders 26-23, but there's a caveat there. When I do my final picks on Friday, I'll bring you guys up to speed on whether or not Jaden Daniels is playing. Right now, I'm making this pick as if he's out of this spot. Next up, we got another shit show. Cincinnati Bengals, Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy, out. Joe Burrow, out. Jake Browning, in. Carson Wentz, in. The Vikings, this news just got released, are placing running back Aaron Jones on IR. Not great, right? So we got to keep our eyes on the offensive line and the health of the Vikings offensive line. That's going to be huge, right? So Jordan Addison's still not back yet. So, man, where do you go? Jake Browning threw 3 interceptions and somehow still won. That's how bad the Jaguars are, right? So, I don't know. Right now, the Vikings are -3 favorites. I actually think Carson Wentz can be successful in Kevin O'Connell's offense. I'm going to roll with the Vikings here, 26-20, cover the 3 points. Shamar Stewart's banged up. Trey Hendrickson can't do it all on his own. Jake Browning is not very good. And this Minnesota defense is 10 times better than what the Jaguars are running out there, in my opinion, right? So I'm going to roll with the Vikings 26-20 in this spot. Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons on the road taking on the Carolina Panthers. Right now, the Atlanta Falcons are 3.5-point favorites on the road. I think they win and cover. I'm going to go 27-13. Atlanta Falcons get it done. The Carolina Panthers are in shambles right now. Robert Hunt, their best offensive lineman in my opinion, he goes to IR, as well as center Austin Corbett on IR, right? This offensive line, they're not going to be able to run the ball. Bryce Young's going to be running for his life. Atlanta's young pass rushers, Jalen Walker, James Pierce, look really, really good. 4th round safety Billy Bowman looks really good. Xavier Watts had a big second half interception to seal the win. I mean, this young defense with Watts, Bowman, Pierce, and Walker, they're running around trying to prove something here, man. And I think they dominate this game. And how is Carolina going to cover this Falcons offense with Bijan Robinson and Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Michael Penix Jr.? The score might even be more lopsided than this. I think I'm usually not a big spread better. Guys, for the 4 millionth time, I don't like betting spreads. I have a 78% winning percentage on the season. Why the hell would I bet the spread? A good spread better is like 55 to 65% right. I'm dominating that. So I'd rather do the parlays. I just think spreads are for suckers. Do whatever you want. I'm rolling with Atlanta to get a big W here. Cover the spread 27-13. Man, this is a weird week of bad teams playing each other. Houston and Jacksonville. Listen, the Houston Texans and the Jaguars should both be ashamed of themselves for losing those games last week. The Houston Texans were unbelievably bad. Like that offensive line, they can't run the ball at all whatsoever. Trevor Lawrence, 24-42, 2 interceptions. Yikes, man. Jags are 1.5-point favorites. That's how awful the Texans looked last week. And that defense, they might be the most overrated defense in the NFL. Man, in that game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, without their 2 starting tackles, just moved the ball up and down the field all freaking game, right, man? And then Trevor Lawrence with the bad decisions, the drops. I mean, it's crazy. Christian Kirk is back for the Texans against the Jaguars this week. You know, the Jaguars were like unstoppable against Cincinnati early on, and then it just was like self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound, penalties, turnovers, drops. Come on, man. They got to be better. But if they fix those little things, man, this team could be interesting as the season moves on. I'm going with the Jaguars to beat the Texans here 24-17. This Jaguars team, like I said before, they're right on the cusp of being a decent football team. Not a good football team, decent. The Texans, they're not decent. They can't run the ball at all whatsoever, like not even a little bit. Their offensive line with the freaking penalties, and it was the defense this week with the penalties. They had 6 penalties on the defense, 3 or 4 of them for first downs. Like, come on, guys, come on. I just can't believe in the Texans at all from what I'm seeing right now. And I'm going to roll with the Jaguars. 24-17, they get it done at home versus a reeling Texans team. And D'Amico Ryans, bro, you got to call it better defense. I don't know what the F's going on with you, bro. What's going on? Denver Chargers. This is going to be an incredible game that are they're like mirror images of each other for the most part, defensively. But the big difference in this game and why I'm rolling with the Chargers is Justin Herbert. And man, oh man, Omarion Hampton looks really freaking good. And Keenan Allen is resurging in his career. He looked great on Monday Night Football. And Bo Nix is still very, very, very unreliable, right? And you can run on this defense, man. Jonathan Taylor, 25 carries, 165, 6.6 yards per carry, right? I think Omarion Hampton balls out in this game. I'm going 23-16 for the Chargers. They win and cover the 2.5-point spread. I don't know. Bo Nix in this offense, it looks kind of meddling right now. Maybe they turn it around as the season goes along, but so far they look like a mediocre offense at best. Denver's got a great defense, but they are susceptible to the run. The Colts really gave it to them. $1.65 for Jonathan Taylor. I like the Chargers in this spot. I just like Vlad McConkey looks unstoppable. Chargers all day long at home, especially. Colts, Titans, -3.5. I like the Colts in this spot. Daniel Jones continues to impress. 235 yards passing in the first half. Rookie Tyler Warren out of Penn State, the tight end, has been incredible, right? We've got to clean up the penalties a little bit for the Colts. Jonathan Taylor, listen to this, hit a top speed of 22.38 miles per hour on his 43-yard reception in the first quarter Sunday. That's the fastest speed by a ball carrier since Raheem Mostert in week 2 of 2020, 23 miles an hour. Woo! Jonathan Taylor balled out against a way better defense than the Titans. Actually, the Titans' defense is not bad, guys. The Titans continue to struggle on third down, 6 out of 15. Tons of penalties again. Even while facing pressure in the first half, Cam Ward, he looked pretty good in the first couple of drives. And then he's got a really great connection with Alec Ayamanor, the rookie. He's got great hands, runs great routes. I like what Cam Ward's doing, but Daniel Jones he's been so efficient, man. They scored on 9 of their first 9 drives. It's crazy. 7 for 7 in week 1. I think they scored on the first 2 in week 2. Daniel Jones is having a resurgence of his career. And they're playing complementary football, the Colts are. They're running the ball. They're passing the ball. Play action. Shane Steichen's got this team rolling. I'm going with the Colts 23-16, covering the 3.5 points. Saints taking on Seattle. Big nut, 7.5 points. But Spencer Rattler has still yet to win a game in the NFL, guys. And Sam Darnold did Sam Darnold things. 22 of 33, 295, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, right? Kenneth Walker balled out, 13 carries, $105. And Jackson Smith-Njigba still looks like he's a premier receiver in this league, 8 for 103. And Kupp still got something in the tank, 7 for 90, right? Even though Rattler's still winless, he has been fun to watch, right? He's very inconsistent, though, right? Sometimes he's dropping dimes and looking like Joe Montana out there. And then other times he looks like, Sam Darnold the last couple of weeks of the season last year where he's just forcing balls, looking bad. They had a big Alvin Kamara fumble that allowed the 49ers to, make the game 2 scores and kind of kept them out of it. But, the Saints, even though they're losing games, they are keeping things competitive. That's why I think this score is 27-23 for Seattle, but the Saints cover the spread. 7.5 points is a lot. A game I'm not really clamoring to bet on at all whatsoever. Spencer Rattler, it's like he makes the hard throws, but he can't make the easy ones that make you a perennial winner in the NFL, right? So I'm going with Seattle to win, but I think the Saints might cover the spread, guys. Even though I'm not a spread bettor, but I'm going to give you the spread thoughts. I think spreads are for suckers for the 50 millionth time. Next up, guys, we got a fun game. Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the New England Patriots in New England. Take a look at your screen right now. Look at all these injuries for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Oh my. IR, out, doubtful, out, questionable. Yikes, dude. Yikes. This defense is battered, to say the least. and they can't stop the run. They're running away from TJ Watt, and they're having a ton of success, averaging over 6 yards per carry when teams are running away from TJ Watt. He can't do it all on his own. Now without Alex Highsmith, that pass rush is going to be ungood. Ungood. A lot of injuries. Listen, I'm rolling with the Patriots here. Until I see a pulse from this Pittsburgh Steelers team, and the pass rush looked pretty good for New England last week, right? With Milton Williams. I just can't trust this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going 24-21. New England gets the W here, right? Pass catching running backs could be in play here. Miami's A-Chain had 8 catches for 92 yards against New England last week. So can Aaron Rodgers utilize the running backs in the passing game? I think he needs to if he wants to win this game, right? So obviously, I'm taking the points. New England's getting a point and a half. I'm taking the points. And I think New England outright wins this game. Drake May's been pretty efficient, guys. 19 of 23, 2 tutties, no interceptions. I do want to see Trevion Henderson more utilized in this offense, especially this week with the Pittsburgh Steelers defense getting lit up with injuries, right? Yeah, New England's defense struggled against Miami. Miami, with all their flaws, still has a very high-powered offense with A-Chain and Hill and Waddle and Tua. When they get cooking, they're good in the kitchen. But right now, that offensive line is very inconsistent. Tua is inconsistent, and the defense is awful, right? So the defense can't get off the field, so it's hard to get in a rhythm when your defense is on the field for, 40 freaking minutes a game, guys. So I like New England for right now. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots to win. Next up on this slate, guys, we got the Dallas Cowboys versus the Chicago Bears. Bears are 1.5-point favorites. I don't understand that at all whatsoever. But it's probably because the Dallas Cowboys secondary is riddled with injuries, and they got torched by Russell Wilson, who turned back the clock a decade, right? So can Caleb Williams finally get right in a spot where, if Caleb Williams can't ball out versus a Dallas Cowboys defense with no pass rush and a beat-up secondary, there's no hope for Chicago or Caleb Williams at all. On the downside for Chicago, star cornerback Jalen Johnson is out indefinitely, right? Caleb was awful last week, 19 of 30, 2 tutties and an interception. Chicago ran the ball a little bit better with Swift, 12 carries, 63 yards. Rome Odunze balled out 7 for 128, 2 tutties. How can the Bears get first quarter Caleb Williams to play throughout the entire game? The first, 10 to 20 plays in the first quarter that are scripted, Caleb Williams looks pretty good. But after that, when he has to look at defenses and figure out what the hell's going on in front of him, he looks like crap, man. So I'm going with Dallas to win this game. I just trust Dallas and those weapons more. Cooper Beebe is also out for the Cowboys, the center. That's a huge loss. This is going to be a shootout. I'm going 30-27 Dallas. I just trust Dak Prescott to make less mistakes. There's one thing that Dak does pretty good in the regular season. That's protect the football. I'm going to trust the quarterback I trust more to win this game. I'm going with Dallas. 30-27 to get a nice road victory. Next up, we got the Packers and Cleveland. I'm definitely going with the Cleveland Browns. Said no one ever. Said no one ever. Especially against this Green Bay Packers team who looks great. Unfortunately, Jaden Reed broke that collarbone. I broke my collarbone twice, dude. It sucks. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. You can't do anything. You're in a sling. It's a bummer. Huge bummer. But the Packers, they're playing complimentary football. Jordan Love is being accurate, not turning the football over, spreading it out all over the field. Tucker Kraft is an absolute beast. They got Josh Jacobs. Even though Cleveland really, really did an amazing job holding Derrick Henry to one of his worst games of his career. 11 carries for 23 yards. OMG. The Josh Jacobs under yardage might be in play here, guys. So none of the props have been really released yet, but I'll talk about that later in the week. But the Packers are just playing some of the best football in the NFL right now. I think the leash on Joe Flacco is getting shorter and shorter by the week. We could see Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders in the second half, depending on how this game goes. But I expect the Packers to get a nice road victory against a bum team. They cover the 7.5 points, 28-13. Green Bay Packers win on the road. Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers. This is going to be a game that's a lot of fun to watch, right? Mac Jones was pretty efficient last week, 26 of 39, 279, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. If they can get this kind of Mac Jones, this team's going to be tough to beat if he can protect the football. There's been some problems over his career with protecting the football, right? I've been going back and forth on this game, but Arizona beat up on a really, really bad Panthers team, and they almost blew it. The Panthers came back in the second half, right? And that was with a really beat-up offensive line, right? I've been going back and forth on my brain, but I'm going with San Francisco 28-24. They cover the 1.5 points. For me, Arizona's having trouble running the football. That's going to make them pretty one-dimensional. And Robert Saleh has this young group of D linemen playing really, really, really well. The offensive line still looks pretty meddling for the Cardinals, in my opinion. They're not running the ball effectively, and that would set up play action. We kind of see Kyler Murray getting happy feet and running around. He looks so frantic when he's playing. His feet are going a million miles an hour. I trust San Francisco, especially at home. And Arizona only won 2 games on the road last year, both by 1 point. Not a great road team. I'm going with San Francisco 28-24 to get a nice home victory. And Mac Jones looks good again, in my opinion, guys. So here we go. Rams, Eagles. All my Eagles fans, you might disown me for this, but I'm going with the Rams. The Rams win 28-20, and here's why. Okay, if we take a look at this Philadelphia Eagles defense, they played okay last week against Patrick Mahomes and the Bums. You know, they were without Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, a team that can't run the football at all whatsoever, and the Rams are the complete opposite of that. They run the ball pretty well, and they got Davante Adams and Puka Nacua. Who is going to cover? Quinton Mitchell will cover one of them, and honestly, he hasn't looked great this year, man. He's been okay at best. But I think they're going to have a lot of trouble covering this Rams offense. Davante Adams had a big game last week. He looked really, really, really good. And this Eagles offense has looked terrible in the first 2 weeks. Let's just call a spade, Eagles fans. Kevin Patullo, the new offensive coordinator, he's struggling, man. He's struggling to find an identity. Jalen Hurts had freaking 101 yards passing. What in the is going on there in Philly? But that's not going to get it done against the Rams. It's just not. Matt Stafford, Davante Adams, Puka Nacua. I think the Eagles struggle to cover them. This could be a shootout in this game. I was originally thinking 28-20, but maybe the Eagles score a little more than that. I'm going to go 28-24. The Rams beat the Eagles. The Eagles defense, this defense is just beatable in my opinion. Big injury for the Rams that could come back to hurt them. Ahkello Witherspoon suffered a broken collarbone. He's out. A significant blow for this defense. Can we get the passing game cooking a little bit? Can we rev up the engines a little bit? Kevin Patullo. I hate doing this, but I got to do it. Rams win 30-26 and get a big road victory. I think this Eagles team has just been kind of escaping with wins by the skin of their teeth. That ends here in week 3 with a little setback for the Bird Gang. Jets, Buccaneers all day long. 7-point spread here, guys. I think Tampa Bay wins and covers 30-16. Luka Decky left the game early. I think it's an ankle injury. Bucky Irving balled out. Baker Mayfield is just a gangster. He's just a gamer. He's a guy you want on your team. Remember, no Justin Fields this week. He's in concussion protocol. I would be shocked if he played. So it looks like Tyrod Taylor goes against Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles' defense, right? I love it. I love Tampa Bay in this spot. I think they easily cover the 7 points. I think they dominate. You know, I think Emeka Egbuka is getting his feet under him. Mike Evans looks pretty good. I'm not really worried about Sauce Gardner in this spot. I'm just not. Tyrod Taylor. I think the defense is going to be on the field a lot in this spot, especially in the second half. In Florida, it's still hot as shit. The Jets are going to go down there, and then in the third and fourth quarter, Tampa Bay is going to take over and dominate this game. 30-16. Tampa Bay gets it done. And let's clap it up for Baker Mayfield. What a win. What a gritty win. Missing his left tackle and his right tackle on the road. Everything against you to just dominate a very good, well, what I thought was a really good Texans defense. They really, really underperformed in my opinion. But oh boy. Man, he's just so tough. And Bucky Irving, he's a dog. People were like, thought I was crazy when I said I love Bucky Irving coming out of Oregon. They were like, he sucks. Yeah. Bucky Irving looks pretty damn good to me, guys. Tampa Bay wins, covers 30-16. Chiefs, Giants. Will the Chiefs go 0-3? Will the Chiefs go 0-3? It's possible, man. The Giants looked pretty damn good last week. If Russell Wilson plays like that, they're going to go 0-3. And if they lose again and are 0-3, we could just wave a white flag on the Chiefs' little run they had, guys. Kelsey with drops. Pat 16 of 29. They can't run the ball at all whatsoever. Russ, the complete opposite of that. 450 through the air, 9 for 60, 167 for Neighbors. The Giants, the reason why I'm going to go Kansas City in this spot is 14 penalties for 160 yards. You're not going to beat Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo and Patty Mahomes giving up 160 yards in penalties. They will make you pay with points, and that's what they're going to do. They win 26-20 in a close game. Neighbors and Wendell Robinson balled out for over 300 yards combined. Wow. I just can't see the Chiefs going 0-3, but who the hell knows, man. 5.5 points, they barely cover, and if they didn't cover, I wouldn't be surprised. I would never bet this game in any stretch of the imagination. Maybe you could put Kansas City in a parlay, but they're on the road. Giants home opener. They look good. Cam Scadaboo is getting more involved in this offense. If that offensive line was even mediocre, this team would be pretty good. Good front seven. I think the Giants are going to be a team on the rise in the coming weeks, guys. Maybe they steal one from Kansas City. But for now, I'm going to go with the Chiefs 26-20. But I might change my mind. Detroit Lions, Baltimore Ravens. This game's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be really, really close. Am I reading this right? Baltimore's 5.5-point favorites. I'm taking the Lions and the points all day. There's nobody been more efficient in the NFL this season than Jared Goff. Through 2 games, 54 out of 67, 23 of 28 for 334 versus Chicago. Amon-Ra St. Brown, great. They ran the ball really well. 30 team carries for $177, almost 6 yards per carry. You can run the ball versus the Ravens defense. The Browns went 22 for 115, over 5 yards per carry. And the Ravens struggled to run the ball last week against the Browns. 11 for 23 for Derrick Henry, right? Myles Garrett was extremely dominant. Can Aiden Hutchinson be that dominant? We'll have to see. But I'm going to go with the Ravens at home, 28-27. I'm taking the Lions and the points all day. And I'm going to do a little more research on this game. I could be flipping to Detroit with my final picks. This game is going to be close. It's going to come down to the wire, guys. And Jared Goff has looked really, really, really good. Like, really, really good. I'm very, very, very impressed with what I'm seeing out of Detroit without Ben Johnson. They stuck it to him last week. They absolutely kicked the shit out of the Bears. It was awesome to watch. But that's it, guys. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens. They don't cover the spread. 28-27. Ravens get it done. Detroit covers the spread. That's my Week 3 picks with scores. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out my memberships. You guys are the absolute best. Peace.